Growing up to become a magical girl after your sister was also a magical girl sounds really promising, except in this world, being a magical girl can kill you. My name is Ayumi, and this is Mahou Shoujo Manga Monday, the series where I introduce one of the very many magical girl comics currently in serialization in Japan. Today we're going to be talking about Magical Girl Pink Blue. This is a comic full of death and violence and mutilation, so please be warned both if you're going to read this comic and also for the rest of this episode. Our main character is Aika Satou. She is 17 years old and she has recently been asked to become a magical girl. She's not a really big a fan of this idea because 10 years ago, when she was just 7 years old, her sister Aika, who was a magical girl, ended up dying in her arms. So, naturally, she has a lot of trauma. However, Magical Girl White does not really give Owl any sort of option except that she absolutely must become the new Magical Girl Blue. And yes, everything is very straightforward with the colors in this series. Now, typically, pink and blue are meant to be partners. However, the current Magical Girl Pink, who was also Magical Girl Pink 10 years ago and was Aika's partner, is not really interested in taking on anyone else as the role of blue, especially not the younger sister of her former partner. So, in the beginning of the series, they're really butting heads, but as the series progresses, we do get a little bit more of them coming to terms with understanding that they have a lot in common and that they both have a lot of trauma over the loss of Aika. In this world, when you become a magical girl, you typically create a magic wand, and that is your main weapon. We have a very interesting case of two exceptions to the rule with pink and blue. So, Momo, our magical girl Pink, she actually has not been able to conjure her wand again ever since losing Aika 10 years ago. And on the other hand, Ao has the very interesting ability to turn literally anything she touches into a magic wand. It doesn't matter what it is. A stick, sure. Swing set, awesome. A truck, let's go for it. Anything is fair game. And so that also creates a lot of fun with the action in this series. We do have a whole large cast of characters of other magical girls that we get to see from time to time, and there's clearly a larger world. So once Pink and Blue actually become friends, then it's time to actually figure out their new target. And the main target they have is the demon that killed Aika. So this series started out in October. Currently only, I think, 5 or 6 chapters in. I've read up to chapter 4, which is what I can read for free. This is a webcomic that can only currently be purchased chapter by chapter or read for free depending on what platform you're using. So, for example, on Line Manga, you can read the first 3 chapters for free. I used Piccoma, where you have to do the wait to read for free part by part, which is excruciating because it's 72 hours between each part. And of course, we just found out that they are getting a print publication, so volume 1 will be coming soon. One of the things I really appreciate about this series is the use of color and the fact that this is really not a cutesy series, not just in the fact that it's like, a violent series. It is primarily a black and white comic, but for key scenes with the magical girls, they have a lot of fun with coloring it up. At the beginning of reading this comic, I wasn't really sure how I felt about this series because, like, basically all the main characters are so traumatized that they're like all just completely pessimistic and not really seeing any hope whatsoever. But as the series continues, and especially as Ao and Momo start to bond, what we actually see is a really beautiful like idea of like the light and the darkness. Like even in this world where magical girls are just like commonly, known to die. It's very much like died for your sins type stuff. It's very easy to see like there's no reason to want to become a magical girl, especially for Owl, of course. Looking forward to exploring more in the series. That was all for today. Feel free to come back every Monday, or you should follow the account if you want this and other Magical Girl chat, including Magical Girl news every Sunday. And if you want to help support me in reading all the comics in the world, this is a comic that I would like to read more of, but would have to spend money on it. You can support me by either sending me money via Throne to buy something directly on the Mahou Shoujo Manga Monday wishlist, or using Ko-fi because there's a lot of stuff where I have to read things by chapter that are webcomics, and It's not great, it's not fun, but that's where we are. What do you want me to talk about? Let me know in the comments, and I will see you around. Till next time, bye bye.